Call the meeting to order for the monthly meeting of the Board of Sewer Commissioners, Town of Raynham, at 6 p.m. First item on the agenda is always, after an election year, is always the reorganization. Because whatever elected position we have on the board is for a single year term. So I'm the senior member, so I conduct the meeting, and I'll open the meeting. Do I have any nominations for someone to be chair?
Nominate you, Mr. Betancourt.
I'll second that motion. I'll second that nomination.
You have a lot of faith in me.
I do. I do.
And you don't want to have to do the work. No,
I have a lot of faith in you.
I appreciate the faith that you have. Well, then I will ask for, well, I don't have to ask for a vote of closing the nominations. All those in favor of Joseph A. Betancourt to be chairman of the Board of Sewer Commissioners for this coming year.
How about further discussion first before a vote?
You want some further discussion?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I think you're doing a great job. And I think, at least speaking for myself, I'm still under my apprenticeship.
There's no such thing as an apprenticeship. When you get elected, you're a full member. It's not a working, you
Sure.
have the same power as any other member on the board. And all you need to do is speak up and you know, say your piece.
And I agree
At
with
least on this board, while I'm still here with you.
And I agree with you, but I also happen to know for a fact you have a much broader understanding of this entire picture than I do as of right now.
And my 2 cents would be, you have more time on your hands and you can respond much quicker than Jeff and I can with our employment.
That's
that
true,
we have
on some
now.
of the day-to-day stuff that we
Exactly.
find. Yes, I would
That's
also agree with
my
that as
opinion.
well.
Well, thank you for your confidence. All right, so if no further discussion, you may get stuck with who you be careful what you wish for. All right, we have a nomination of Mr. Joseph Betancourt made by Mr. Joseph Bickle and seconded by Mr. Jeffrey Kelleher. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and I accept it humbly and thankfully that you are good co-members of this board that work just as diligently as any one of us. And your faith in me I will not do anything to shatter the illusion that you have. All right, that being done, number 3, approval of minutes, commission meeting 4/8. Motion to accept.
So moved.
And seconded?
All right, it's on the floor. Are there any questions that could be changed? Any notations?
Everything looked good to me.
Everything was fine, all right. Motion made by Mr. Bickle, seconded by Mr. Kelleher. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 It is a vote. Before I go into the correspondence, I am going to take a moment to congratulate Mr. Bickle in his
Thank you.
victory on election day, a very substantial one. 70% of the casting ballots is a damn good number. I appreciate the fact that he chose to run for re-election because I know what he does and what he brings to this board. And we're always looking for good people to get involved. If anybody out there remembers the pre-town meeting of Monday, that was a highlight on the night that we got to get more people involved.
That is true.
And that has always been our hope. And I thank Mr. Bickle for his willingness, as I thanked Mr. Kelleher last year when he decided to run and come on board. We have a harmonious board. We have a 3-0 vote. You could say everybody's happy, but that doesn't necessarily mean to be true. They all have a voice, and we venture the voice, and then we come to a consensus what's best for the people of the town of Raynham for their sewer service. And that's what we do, reasonably. Okay, enough of that. Approval of minutes done, correspondence.
We have none.
Nobody's calling you.
Nope.
Well, if anybody out there wants to make Rob Carey's life more happy, give him a buzz,
That's
send him a
right.
letter.
Give me a call.
Complain about your water or whatever. He needs some special love.
If they complain about the water, that's an easy fix for me. I just give them a different phone.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, the superintendent's report.
Okay, superintendent's report, May 13th, 2021. Phase 7 contract 1 and 2 update. The newly planted grass within the construction area at the Church Street pumping station is beginning to fill in. Ty and Bond will be working with CJP to close out the contract 1 project, possibly for next month's meeting. Originally, in speaking with Ed Buckley, paving for those remaining streets in contract 2 was expected to be possibly begin in June, but with most recent discussion with Ed, this may not happen for 2 or 3 months now. I got a couple of pictures there showing the construction work on Church Street with the grass coming in. And as mentioned during our last commission meeting, we opted to remove the blacktop that was supposed to be added around the new wet well and plant grass there. So it actually looks a lot nicer that way instead of having a big blacktop apron there. Taunton River easement stabilization, again, an ongoing project for us. We're waiting for Army Corps. We are still waiting for a reply from Army Corps of Engineers. Time Bond did inform me that the Army Corps had requested additional information on the project, in which Time Bond has since provided, but no word back again yet from Army Corps. Hopefully, again, we're hoping to get this thing bid out sometime during the summer. Katy Drive easement, JH Landscaping has been on site addressing the punch list items for this project. We will most likely be looking to close this project out during next month's meeting as well. And we did start to shape up pretty well over there. Raynham Riverwalk project, this is a 40B subdivision project. Once again, went before the Zoning Board of Appeals on April 28th. The Zoning Board did grant the comprehensive permit for the project, but directed the applicant to work out a fee structure for the water connections with the Raynham Center Water District. Town meeting articles, the pre-town meeting was held on May 11th on the go-to meeting platform. As mentioned previously, we have 2 articles on the special meeting warrant. Article 2 being to transfer $282,509 for the expected bill from Taunton. Article 3 being for the transfer of $100,000 into the maintenance facility debt account. We have 4 sewer department related articles on the annual town meeting. Article 10 being for our fiscal year 22 operating budget in the amount of $2,931,000 and $2,931,003. Article 11 being submitted by the selectmen for $60,000 reimbursement to the sewer department. This is an ongoing payment. It's supposed to last 10 years. We were into the 8th or 9th year, 2 years ago on that, and the next one, and then one more. So we'll have FY22 and then FY23. Article 12 being betterment and sewer construction debt related in the amount of $534,000. Article 13 being for the maintenance facility debt payment with an amount of $47,200. The annual and special town meetings will be held on May 17th at the Raynham Middle School, beginning with the special at 6 p.m. and rolling into the annual. I did ask Graham today if there was going to be designated seating for different boards or members of the town personnel, and he said no, just Finance Committee, Selectmen, and Town Moderator. So it'll be basically first come, first serve for the seating arrangement in there. Pleasant Street project, the milling and leveling course has been completed on Pleasant Street. I've been told the structure adjustment will take place within a couple months, at which time we will be replacing a minimum of 14 sewer frames and covers. The new sidewalk will be placed along the southeasterly side of Pleasant Street. As mentioned in our previous meeting, we have 4 sewer services that have not been connected to yet along that side of the road. Initial inspection indicates that the new sidewalk placement should not impact that location of those sewer service stubs. We had a little concern that the new sidewalk may be over where the stubs are and that we may have to extend them before they put the sidewalk in, but right now everything looks to be good there. Department operations, Verizon has completed with the conversions of the fiber optic phone lines. On those lines that can be converted at this time, our remaining lines are Centrix lines, which are not supported by the fiber network yet. The conversions will continue once Centrix lines can be supported by that new network. Ace Pump will be replacing the PLC controller at the White Street pumping station. This controller is 24 years old and has become unreliable. We have many older stations with this type of controller, which I will be looking to upgrade over time. This controller, being 20 plus years old, is no longer available, so Gorman Rupp will be installing a retrofit upgrade version. The replacement media was ordered and has now been received for the order control unit at the Route 44 pumping station. This work is scheduled for next week, most likely Tuesday, weather permitting. That's something that we typically have to do once a year, or maybe sometimes we can get a year and a half out of it, which we got a year and a half out of this last cycle. The driveway at the Route 44 pumping station is also scheduled to be repaired. The driveway has a settled trench from a project back in 2017. This trench has become problematic, especially when plowing. The entire patch from the previous trench repair will be removed, filled and compacted with dense grade gravel, and then repaved. Wet well cleaning for all our pump stations has also been scheduled. We will be starting that in the week of June 7th. This is another, pretty much an annual thing that we do on all our stations, with probably like 7 or 8 that we do twice a year. Route 44 being an exception, that's done once a month. Also, one thing, we had a truck, a recent truck there, which is we picked up just about a year ago. We got it last June. And that's the one with the crane on it. It's a 2020. And the crane was acting up, so that went back to the dealer this week to get looked at. Luckily, it's still under warranty. We also have a truck out back getting painted. The utility body was showing some rust on it. And so I got the guys cleaning that up. And it should look like new. After that one's done, we get a couple others that we're going to address as well. Upcoming projects. After seeing the improvement that was made to the Katy Drive easement, I've asked Ty and Bond to take a look at another easement repair for me. This easement is located just off of King Street and heads towards the Temley Road. This easement has a slightly different situation than the Katy Drive project. While this isn't a stream crossing, it is adjacent to a stream and is very mucky with probably 2 or 3 feet of what I would consider peat, which will not support a vehicle. This easement is impassable for any vehicle, including our tractor. In order for our tractor to get into this area, we have to pass outside of the easement area onto a neighboring property's yard. This option is no longer available to us due to the newly installed fence. They installed a pool and installed a fence along their property line. Actually, it's not even their property line. Their property line goes beyond our easement. But this particular area where the fence is the area where we used to go around to get into that easement and avoid where the easement actually was.
Is this right on the corner?
Yes,
Right
right
with the
near the
bridge?
buckets, yeah. So the picture that you see with the manhole and the stake, you can see the nice green grass. It doesn't really show you what happens there. And when we get further into the meeting, when I ask you guys to look over the time-bound proposal, I'll show you what's going on there.
That manhole is at the corner of the other pitcher's fence.
Try
You're
to-
not looking this. That up by the road?
Yes, that's up by the road, standing at, there's a manhole on each side of that culvert, and this is the one on the, say, the Leona Court side of that culvert.
This fence is that fence?
Yes, yep,
Oh, I see, okay, I got the angle different.
yep,
This, you're looking down the fence there,
pretty much.
yeah, and the fence is
Yeah,
coming
it's
this
coming at an
way.
angle, yep,
Yeah,
comes in at an angle.
I'm very familiar with the easement.
Yep. And then that's where it stands with that until we get further into the,
There's one, in other words, you could do almost all of that from coming in off of Temmy Road, the backside, but you can't do this unless you get off and use a hand mower, of a
Yeah.
side or a
it'd
sickle.
have to be a weed whacker, and that's how they've been doing it lately. And
Yeah.
there's, if you went over there and looked, and you'll see in the further pictures that I have, you'll see that dark green area there's actually a depression, and it goes down like that, and it's all muck in there, and you can actually see some tractor marks where the tractor got stuck in there last year.
It's a wonder it hasn't already got the wetland vegetation.
It kinda does.
Keep cutting it, they don't see it.
Right. So, just as a little history, I was gonna talk about it when we got further in, but I'll mention it now. When I first started here, we didn't have our own tractor, so we used to sub that out. And it was Arthur Gibline and Bucky Glavin that used to do the easements. In my first year here, Arthur Gibline got his tractor stuck at this particular spot. So this has been kind of a thorn in our side for the 24 years that I've been here, that we had to have the water department come down and pull them out. So if you don't hit the right time of year, you can't get through that. It has to be really, really dry. Even then, the track is sinking. You just gotta go once you get into it. You just
Well,
gotta
you
go.
know, when the engineering was done for the sewer line that came that way, if they had done a proper test hole on King Street,
Mm.
so that they could have put the manhole there, then they wouldn't have had to take the backyard to go through that way.
From what I heard, there was a manhole that I don't know if it was on Weona or King Street, down by Weona. They couldn't get it to set, it kept sinking.
It
What I
was,
heard?
it was the one on King Street that kept sinking.
Yeah,
They had the manhole in front of my old house already in,
yeah.
because they
They were
working the
going the
other
other
way.
way, yeah.
Okay, they're working from the high point going down,
Mm.
and they couldn't get it to stay. And then they stopped after they had taken the easement of my property, cut out the trees, put the pipe in, went back to the drawing board, and they were trying to figure out what the hell, and their plan was sitting on the table, and I was familiar with, that used to be Lodger's land. People lived on, way up on Pleasant Street, right
Mhm.
next to the farm. He
Yeah.
owned that piece of land. And he owned the piece that was on King Street with 12-foot frontage. And he sold that lot, part, it was between what used to be Anderson's house and the house next to it now. The guy, Roger, who owned it, has been gone for years, but then they came back and they sat there and I said, this whole piece goes right out, because with Lodger's land, when you take a look at the picture of your manhole on King Street,
Mm.
Lodger's land's to the left of that as it comes out, because part of the brook
Yeah.
is on his property. And I don't wanna go back too far in history. The company I worked for offered to put a sewer treatment plant right there to take care of all of Pleasantville.
Really? Yeah.
But the town fathers didn't want that,
Mm.
so it never got done.
But a sewer commissioner was born.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
keep going,
Yeah,
do a
that's
good
it.
job.
Yeah,
That's it for that.
there's a lot of preventative maintenance in that report.
Yeah.
It's basically comprises the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's all I got for that.
Okay. You've got new business, time bond design and permitting proposal for access improvement to
Yep.
the King Street.
So,
Kenny
the devil.
Road.
Continuing on with that discussion. This is the proposal from Time One. They took a quick look at it, kind of got an idea what I was looking to accomplish. If you look in your packet towards the back, there's a bundle of, there's a plan, shows you where this area is. Sounds like you're all familiar with it anyways. One of the little stipulations there, if you look at that plan, at manhole 5, running to manhole A4, our easement, for whatever reason, hugs the right side of that manhole and main, and sewer main.
Up front,
Yes, all the way down that whole side.
Yeah.
It almost looks like, you know, the easement is more in the wetlands than it is over the
Yeah,
edge of
I
the
think-
pipe.
yeah, they wanted to stay as far away from the wetland as possible.
I think they moved further into it, to be honest with you.
Well, when you look at this design,
Yeah,
they shouldn't have taken that right, that diagonal left there. They should have pushed it a little further and come down to where the manhole on the other side of the brook. They should have crossed the brook up further.
I saw a plan, in doing some research, I saw a plan that actually showed that shooting across the brook back here,
Yeah.
and then going down. So we wouldn't have been crossing at the culvert, which would have kind of got us out of the woods there. But anyways, that gives you the general idea of where it is. And this is the profile of the pipe. If you look at the bottom, that shows how much that dips down. So that's our problem, that thing dips down and it's holding water or whatever. It's just all peat or muck, and it just will not support a vehicle, and not even a tractor. So, and again, before we used to go around that, but with that newly installed fence, it's tough for us to do. So, actually impossible for us to do. So that would be one of the reasons we'd be looking to improve that area. And if you look at this picture here that I gave you, you can kind of see the darker areas in here. This is actually ruts from the tractor. And when we were over there, I was over there with Liz Desjardins from Ty and Bond, and the homeowner came out, and he was telling me last year that the tractor actually did get stuck in there. They were actually able to power it out of there, but it was stuck for a little bit, I guess. And this picture here is just a more of an exploded view of what was on the superintendent's report.
Would I assume that the fence in the picture is running along the edge of the easement, even though his property goes beyond the easement?
It actually isn't. It is to a point, but if you see this picture here, he had his land surveyed, and I think that's his property line. So he didn't put his fence all the way there, and I think it's because he was...
No. The fence is on the easement, not the property line.
His fence is, no, I don't believe it's on our easement, no. I think he's...
Well,
It's on the edge of
looks
the
like
easement, if
it's
that's what
here.
you're saying, yes.
It looks like it here,
Yes.
okay, because I believe you cannot put any structure
Right.
on an easement.
Yep.
You can pave it, but you can't put any vertical
Yeah.
structure. So when I look at this and look at that, I'm looking down the easement line, and I said, yeah, the fence is right there.
Hmm.
Looks like he kept it back for the same reason,
Yeah.
it was gonna be hard to maintain.
Right.
And we have confirmation that fence is not on the easement?
Yeah, it's not on there.
Perfect.
But that'll be actually confirmed when Ty Bond goes out there and kind of determines where the actual easement is. I mean, another option, I actually mentioned the dam loans, is possibly maybe obtaining some more land there, basically where these trees are. If we came over, this is basically where we used to go through, kind of in this area. So if we broaden where our easement is, maybe we don't have to impact the actual area where we can't get through anyways.
Well,
So
it would seem that if this is the edge of the easement where the pipe is he cutting the grass back there, or is that us?
He's cutting the grass, yeah.
Where he's hand cutting, I
Yeah.
take it. And you'll be taking out the brown stalk on the left.
Yes. So our next sewer manhole, you don't see it, there's a stake up in here, but there's a, basically where this green,
Pipe is, yeah.
it's actually it's a kayak, it's a typical kayak, but right there is where
Yep.
the next manhole is.
Good.
Right where I Right in here, that's where, if you went over there, you'll see, you can't make it out in the picture, but
Well,
there's a stake up in there.
When he puts in the easement, you know, he could put a pin in the ground
Yeah.
for us for the easement, and at the same time get a better corner point for
Correct.
him,
Yeah,
so that he knows where his property line is.
yeah.
If his property line is that stake in the ground,
His property line actually comes at an angle.
I know, because it filters down into it.
Yeah. That would be where the area is that we're looking to improve. And the reason why we're looking to improve it is we really have no access to get into that. So with Ty and Bond's proposal, they have 4 tasks that they would include as part of the initial survey. They were doing an initial survey and soil borings, access road concept drawings, permitting, which could be extensive, notice of intent, may have to get Army Corps involved again, and then a final design once all that is determined with permitting.
Now, of course, if they go through the process, we have to determine how far up the easement we want them to go.
Right, so I believe what they're proposing is going from,
One manhole to the other one?
One manhole to the other, correct, yep. Don't know if we really have to get up that far, because once we get beyond that little certain spot, we'd be all right, so.
Yeah, but if you're gonna play with it,
Right, yep,
do it right.
yep.
Yeah.
So it's, a little background on it that they give is it's a 31-year-old Interceptor, 15-inch line. It basically runs from Pleasant Field. It actually takes on other sewer from other projects in town. Paddock Road area actually comes through here. The new Bassett Knoll subdivision comes through here. Berry Hill actually comes through here, or pumps up on the Pleasant Street and comes through the Pleasant Field Interceptor. So there's quite a bit of sewer running through there. They estimated 800,000. I think they're a little high on that. I think probably maybe around 600,000.
A
that
day?
runs through that line. A day, yeah.
Which is 60% of our flow.
You're right, yeah. So we get quite a bit of flow through that. So it is a very important sewer main that's running through there, carrying a lot of sewer. So if we had a problem,
And it's relatively, well, 30 years?
31 years,
Yeah, 87.
yeah, in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah, because my daughter was going to her high school prom when my front yard was dug up.
Oh, yeah.
Great pictures. Well, is it your recommendation?
I would recommend this. I think it's an important project. Again, carrying that amount of sewer, if there's a problem in there, we can't wait to get in there. We gotta get in there quick, so. And just with the problems of getting a tractor in there, to even
Okay,
try to get a
now,
vehicle.
that's maintenance, Rob.
Yeah.
That's maintenance. When they do the I&I,
Yeah.
did they run that pipe from manhole to manhole to see what condition that pipe
Yes,
is in?
yeah, they were able to get in from the other side.
And they had a manhole out here to take a
Yeah.
look at it?
Yep, so we did run that with a camera. Everything there looks good now.
Okay. Because if we saw that it wasn't, we would incorporate it and do it at one time, not
Yeah.
trying to do it 2 or 3 times and
Right.
piecemeal, get it done, because you're gonna disrupt it for a period of time.
Yeah. So you'll see the breakdown, again, the 4 tasks at the back. Survey and soil burn, 13,500. Access road concept drawings, 6,800. Permitting, 14,700, and then final design, 18,200. Now you'll notice that this doesn't include bidding or oversight of the project, so that would come later. So we got a total of 53,200, which will be invoiced monthly based on a percentage of the work that they're doing.
53.2 to do what he's saying.
Yeah. And that again includes permitting, going to conservation, notice of intent, with conservation, also Army Corps, all that stuff that would be involved.
That would also include construction?
No construction, no. What I'm saying, it wouldn't.
Well, we might ask her to donate that, because I think he might be a little high on his price.
Yes.
He's probably happy to hear that I got elected sheriff. Well, if you need a vote, I'll ask for a recommendation from one of the members and go from there.
So moved.
Yeah, I think with all that's at stake, 60%, and
Yeah.
obviously it's sinking and could be a potential problem, and for those reasons, I'll have to second.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the proposal from Ty and Bond for the 52,200 for the King Street, Temmie Road section of easement to be worked on from the defined area that the superintendent had. Made by Mr. Bickle, seconded by Mr. Kelleher. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's a 3-0 vote.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Any old business?
Whole business.
Okay, I'm gonna put something under old business. All right?
Mhm.
Should have done it up on number 2. As we did the last year, and the reasoning for it is this board can function with 2 members. And we need a vice chair to be able to step into it.
I wasn't gonna mention that.
I was waiting for the end.
And what I would like to do, and it's like, give your buddy a hug type of routine. I could make a nomination, but I would prefer to see if either of the 2 would like to fight it out. I accept either one of you, whatever your decision was. I will second whoever speaks first.
If you will, then I will motion Joe Bickle for the position.
Are you willing to accept it, Mr. Bickle?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'll second the motion for Mr. Joseph Bickle as vice chair. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor? Aye? Aye. Thank you for accepting, Mr. Bickle.
Look, you remember that, I was about to recant at the end here, recant my nomination of you. See,
Oh, you wanted to do that?
I was waiting, you saved yourself.
People, we're having a recall! We're having a recall! I'm free!
I'm in the fire service.
Yeah.
A lot gets done by seniority.
Yeah.
And that's what just happened right there.
Yeah. Sounds good.
You know,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
you bring a lot to the table, you have the capability. If I'm not here, you can run the show, you can follow the sequence, it's relatively easy. You're not being tested for expertise on anything, you just have to manage
My
it.
expert, right there.
That's right.
He thinks he's the expert. But that's why we have to go and pay $53,000 a time bond
Right?
to reinforce him.
And if it's that important, it can always be tabled.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, listen, sometimes it can't be tabled.
There are deadlines, but in a lot of cases,
You know, it takes 2 votes to process anything. And I like to have everybody so they have a chance to have their say on that. And this is the same thing here. You can run the business. If Joe was sick and he was in Boston, had surgery, we'd be running the business. And we're not going to table it because he's up in Boston. He might be there for a month or 2 months. You proceed. You have 2 people. And the chair is the person who conducts the meeting. And without a chair, when you flip the coin and say, well, we'll go longevity, you got more time in here, but now you have an official chair, like, say,
you have to have that.
yeah, it is, and we can make you a clerk so that you have some official capacity if you want.
To do that, I don't find it necessary.
We can get together and decide what kind of job we want to assign.
Scribe.
Well, I missed that one meeting. I got stuck in
Florida.
out of town.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you threatened with a committee of 1, and I deserved it.
Okay. Down to emergency business, there being none. Commission business, town meeting is next Monday night. Hopefully they'll be there. Public forum, there's no one here for the public other than our cameraman. He's not taking press notes. And if that be done, we have items for administrative work? Yes. Our next meeting is on the second Thursday of the month of June, which is the 10th. So we will reconvene on the 10th of June. I would like to have a motion to adjourn for the purpose of administrative work and no action other than that.
So, I'll second that.
Moved by Mr. Bickle, seconded by Mr. Kelleher. The meeting is
Phone kicking your butt over there?
adjourned. Yeah, well,
This
it won't do what you want it to do. The meeting's adjourned at 6:35. Thank you very much.
Thank you.